Good morning. Welcome to the Sunday morning worship service at DuPage Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Chris Cable, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. Unitarian Universalism is a faith tradition committed to creating a just and flourishing world for all people. Our Universalist theology tells us that every person is worthy of love. Thus, when we say, whoever you are, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. This is our message of love to you, inviting your whole self into this space to help us co-create a world centered on our values. We invite you to learn more about us and consider joining this community to enact our values of equity, justice, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. A couple special announcements. First, we're thrilled to announce that we currently have 3 delegates ready to represent our congregation at this summer's General Assembly, but we need 2 more members to join them at this exciting event. Whether you're able to attend in person or virtually, this is a fantastic chance to engage with Unitarian Universalists from across the country, share ideas, and shape the future of our faith. If you're interested in becoming a delegate or want more information, reach out today. We'd love to have you on board. Let's make this summer's General Assembly unforgettable. And second, the Endowment Grant Task Force encourages you to consider applying for a 2025 endowment grant. This money is available for church committees, program teams, or staff to use toward one-time DuPage UU Church-related projects that are in alignment with our mission. To apply, follow the link found in the weekly newsletter. Your submission should be completed no later than April 30th to be considered for 2025 funds. Now, if you're online, I invite you to greet each other through the chat, and if you're present here, I invite you to turn to someone you did not come with and greet them with a wave and good morning greeting. Good morning. Good morning.
If ever there were a time for a candle in the darkness, this would be it. Use a spark of hope, kindle the flame of love, ignite the light of peace, and feed the flame of justice.
Good morning. I'm Kelly Trombley-Freitag, the coordinator for this service. Today, 3 of your fellow congregants will share stories of their work for social justice and how it forms and informs their spiritual journeys. Their actions are a reflection of their voices in the world, voices that speak both to the needs of the moment and to the deeper call for justice, equity, and transformation. As we listen to their journeys, we are reminded of the strength it takes to keep hope alive, to act with love in times of struggle, and to carry our voices forward in the face of a broken world. With that strength in mind, we're now inspired by the words of Alice and Acheka Naisman as we work together to cultivate a more just and compassionate world. This is the meditation on hope and love in a time of struggle. An open hand reaches out, the word breathe written or tattooed on the wrist. In a world so filled with brokenness and sorrow, it would be easy to lose ourselves in never-ending grief, to be choked by our outrage, to be paralyzed by the enormity of suffering, to feel our hearts squeezed tight with hopelessness. Instead, this morning, let us simply breathe together as we hold our hearts open, breathing in as our hearts fill with compassion, breathing out as we pray for healing in our world and in our lives, breathing in, opening ourselves to the transforming power of love, breathing out as we pray for peace in our world and in our lives, breathing in as we hold hope in our hearts, breathing out as we pray for justice in our world and in our lives. May we know our strength. May we be filled with courage. May our love flow into the world. Breathing in, we are the prayer. Breathing out, we are the healing. Breathing in, we are the love. Breathing out, we are the peace. Breathing in, we are the hope. Breathing out, we are the justice. May we know our strength. May we be filled with courage. May our love flow from us into this world.
Please rise in body or in spirit and join in hymn 1024, When the Spirit Says Do.
Spirit says do. Please join me in reading our mission statement. We gather as an inclusive community to grow in character, mind, and spirit, and to transform the world toward fairness, love, and compassion.
Each spring, our congregation embarks on its annual Promise Campaign. Our Promise Campaign is the time when each member or pledging friend of the congregation shares a financial commitment to our church. The financial commitment helps us to craft a proposed budget for the coming fiscal year, which begins in July. Our goal this year is to include in the coming year's budget a Director of Music and Worship Arts. This is a new staff position that will significantly enhance not just our worship services, but potentially offer more worship opportunities and engage more of our congregation, from our youngest to our oldest, in meaningful musical programming. Check out the table in Creeves Hall after the service to learn more about the position. During each Promise Campaign, we ask our members and friends to consider all the gifts this church has given you: the relationships and connections, the educational opportunities, the music and worship experiences, and opportunities to care for one another and to do justice in the world. As you consider your pledge for the coming year, please consider these gifts. We also know that sometimes life circumstances mean that finances are tight. Please know that you can always reach out to Reverend Mandy to request a waiver for the coming year. For those who have yet to make their promise for the coming year, beginning today, a member of our Promise Campaign team will be reaching out to you to encourage you to go to Realm to make your financial promise, so that we can get all of these completed by March 31st. You may also email our office administrator, Sherry Regalato, with your pledge amount. And as always, thank you. Your generosity in all its forms allows us to be a community of love for all the world.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Miguel Calvillo, Miguelcalvillo, and this is my wife, Maya Tallman, Myathalmann. We have been coming to DUC together since October 2022. However, I started to come here in the summer of 2007 before my junior year at Naperville North. When my mother and I moved to Naperville, I had to change high schools. By attending DUC youth group, I was able to meet other teens who went to Naperville North prior to starting at the new school. My mother was also a single parent social worker at the time. Looking back, I don't feel like we were able to give a lot back to the church in terms of time, treasure, and talent. But the friendships I made with those young UUs made a large impact on my life. The youth group was very vibrant at the time. I fondly remember the sleepovers and conferences, or cons, as we call them. And I was also very grateful for the wisdom of the adult advisors in the youth group.
When I was younger, I too was involved in the high school youth group, but at St. Margaret Mary Catholic Church in Naperville. After confirmation, I decided I wanted to share my time and talent by leading the high school age retreats and volunteering on mission trips. When Miguel and I started to talk more seriously about our relationship and our future family together, spirituality and a sense of belonging was important to us in a community. I was adopted from China as a baby and assimilated into a white middle-class family. Miguel and I both navigated bridging a multicultural childhood. Once I understood his experience of living in Mexico for a year, I quickly realized I too had not always felt like I belonged growing up in Naperville. The Catholic teachings and beliefs started to not align with my social beliefs during and after college. After 2020, when all the attacks on Asian people due to COVID were on the rise, I felt my self-identity as an Asian woman more deeply.
When we moved back to the western suburbs, Mai was interested in visiting DUC because I spoke highly about how much the youth group had an impact on me. From the start, we enjoyed Mandy's sermons and were welcomed kindly by all we met. I also came to the realization that this is my time to give back to the community that helped shape and nurture me. I've been volunteering with the high school youth group for about 2 years now, and it has been great. The attendance has been inconsistent, but I enjoy holding space for them during our time together. We are working towards creating a larger, more vibrant youth group like the one I had. I also offer my trade, which is painting, to the church. I am quick to get up on a ladder and be the muscle to take care of the church grounds. I am proud to say that I'm at a point in my life financially where I can give back in that aspect. By devoting my time to this community, I have become a better person. I enjoy the conversations and spiritual growth, and I'm super grateful for everything this community has given me.
My first introduction to the community besides the Sunday services was serving on the interview panel and hiring Tina as our Director of Membership and Engagement. Since then, I volunteered on the Finance Advisory Committee for 2 years, the nominating committee this year, and attended the inaugural Leadership Development class. This has all been a great way to meet others and feel invested in this community. I personally have enjoyed exploring my own spirituality and social justice beliefs through the adult learning hours and services. We see our time, talent, and treasure as kindling to help ignite the community and keep the fire burning as an investment for the future families in our community. We want our multiracial family to feel loved, challenged, and supported in a place where they can grow and flourish in our shared values of justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity with love at the center.
Thank you.
Our vision of beloved community is rooted in the relationships we have with each other, our world, and creation. Each week we share our joys and sorrows. The flowers today are from Lindy Spreetsma in celebration of the first day of spring and the spring equinox, which was on March 20th. We have a concern from Jan Moretti. My good friend Susan is having surgery for uterine cancer. Please keep her in your hearts and send healing vibes and prayer her way. In these uncertain and troubling times, when the cares of the world weigh on us, may we find joy and solace in our connections with each other and in the pleasures that life holds. Let us care for one another and ourselves in all the ways that we can. And as we hold each other in our hearts and minds, with all our joys and all our sorrows, whether spoken and unspoken, please let us join together in a moment of meditative silence.
Join me up here in the front. How you guys doing today? Good. Do you guys have a voice? Let me hear it. Let me hear your voices. Say hi to everybody. Can you raise your voices higher? Can we really make some noise? Let's hear your voices. Louder. So, my story today is titled A Voice Like Yours by Frank Murphy and April Groman. There have been more than 100 billion people who have ever lived in the world. Each had their own voice. Today, there are billions and billions and billions of people alive right now. Each of us has our own voice too, and each voice is unique. And voices tell stories, make choices, and express feelings. So use your voice, because the world needs a voice like yours. Voices are meant to be used. Some use their voices to express themselves through art. Some use theirs to vote and make changes. Some people use their voices to inspire or teach. And some help others express their own voice. Voices can be bold and loud or soft and quiet. Your voice can roar. Your voice can whisper or sing. Use your voice to show your feelings, your thoughts, and your hopes. Let your voices be the reason someone smiles. Speak up in the way that makes you feel like you. Voices are diverse. There are more than 7,000 languages spoken around the globe. Each and every one makes our world more beautiful. Some people use language that is spoken with their hands. People who speak with sign language shape their words and stories in the air. And people listen with their eyes and hearts. Voices might need help. Many people can't share their thoughts and feelings by speaking. They can use tools to share their voices. Tablets help them express what they want to say with the touch of a button, or a tap of a picture, or even a gaze of their eye. Some voices are hesitant, or shy, or go unheard. Those voices might need yours to speak up, get loud, or lead the way. Voices connect people. One day you may be angry, speak up. One day you'll make a mistake. Quiet your voice and listen. Sometimes people's words bump into each other, and that can happen in an argument or when people forget to be polite. Knowing when to speak and when to listen shows you are growing. So don't forget to listen to other voices. Listening is an act of kindness. Voices are meant to be shared. And there are so many ways to share your voice. You might write with a crayon or chalk, a pencil or a pen, a typewriter, computer, or smartphone. A voice can be shared in a poem or a family recipe, a love letter, or a postcard from far away. You can sing your words, you can draw your ideas, you can paint your dreams. You can vote for something you believe in. Your voice can be your superpower. Share your voice in ways that matter to you. It's your voice and nobody else's. Go out into the world and use your voice. Express your feelings, the things that matter to you and your dreams. Your voice can make art and make change. It can inspire and teach, and it can lift up the voices of others. Your voice is unique, and the world will always need a voice like yours. I want to hear your voice. I want you to say your name really loud so everyone can hear it. All right? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's use your voice nice and loud. Let's hear your voice, everybody. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Let's sing to the children.
Picasso offers that the meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. The giving of our treasure is how we reciprocate the many gifts we are given by this community. Even in an uncertain world, we have so much to be grateful for. Life itself, our planet, love, and each other. Giving is also how we live our values. Each month, we share our offerings with an organization that gives life to those values and makes a difference in the world. Our March special offering is for Riverwalk Adult Day Services. It was founded in 1983 by a group of 15 religious institutions, including our church, who recognized the desire and benefits for adults to age in place at home, but who could not be left at home alone. Riverwalk Adult Day Services has provided over 700,000 hours of services by providing a safe, social, stimulating environment for adults in need of daytime care. As we pass our offering plate, know that it is a vessel that connects us to each other through our gratitude and generosity. So give freely of your thankfulness and abundance that our values can forever take hold in our world.
Words of John Lewis. When you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, you have to say something. You have to do something. You have to be prepared to make a little noise. Don't be afraid. Speak up, speak out, be courageous. Today's marchers are drawing attention to the reality that we must make the world a safer, more peaceful place. We've come this far, and we're not going back. The world is watching. We have to be bold. We have to ask questions. Are you on the right side of history? When we hear an unjust answer or a deafening silence, we will take to the streets and protest until change comes. We must be constructive, not deconstructive. Our work is never easy. It's hard. When you move in the direction of the good, more will come to the cause. It may not happen overnight or in a few days, weeks, or years, but have faith that your good work will be a drop in the river that will eventually break the dam, ushering in a more peaceful world. In high school, I was a good girl, goody two-shoes. I stayed quiet and I kept my head down. After asking for clarification on a math concept, my math teacher replied, "Don't worry, in a few years you'll be married with 4 kids." I didn't dare say a word, but I haven't forgotten this nearly 40 years later. I voted since I was 18, and every election since. Over the decades, I've donated to organizations who address injustices and protect civil rights. When a male sexual predator and serial fraudster was installed in the White House as a supposed better choice than a qualified woman, I was hurt at a profound and deeply personal level. I felt fully like my experience as a second-class citizen had been verified by millions of my fellow citizens. I marched in Washington, D.C. with 500,000 other women and millions more around the world, protesting the erasure of decency, of democracy. What followed over the next 4 years was injustice after injustice. A switch in me flipped. Then my power surged. I needed to partake in sustained work for social justice. I helped plan the 100-year commemoration of the woman's right to vote. Well, white women, Black women wouldn't have that right until after the Civil Rights Act passed in 1964. Remember kyriarchy that Reverend Mandy spoke about? Oppression and supremacy is intersectional. One can be both privileged and oppressed. Later, I would engage in civil disobedience not 50 yards from where the first US suffragists chained themselves to the fence surrounding the White House more than 100 years earlier. I consider that a point of pride, good trouble, as John Lewis said. I mentioned sustained work. Women's rights to vote are under threat again with the introduction of the SAVE Act. And last year, women lost bodily autonomy when SCOTUS killed Roe v. Wade. Justice won can be easily lost. Voting is so important to me, I became an elected precinct committee person to inform and help other voters vote and get more engaged in participatory democracy. Then I learned about a man who started something called Stand on Every Corner. Not everyone has the time, money, or privilege to leave work and go to massive rallies in DC. His idea started as a way for people to protest where they are. A group could stand together in a corner to protest the administration. I started a group here in Naperville. I stood vigil in the cold of winter and in the heat of summer, with others or alone, bearing witness, protesting injustice. I led vigils and protests for 140 days straight. I learned about the power of our voices from our congressional aides who started the Indivisible team. I called politicians. I ran into one of my favorites, yeah, I now have favorites, at the Equality Illinois Gala and asked him what we can do. Get in the streets, he said. Boycott companies against diversity, equity, and inclusion. There are attacks on our freedom every single day, an abundance of actions you can take. If you haven't already, join the emailing list for our church's Justice in Action program. 5 simple actions you can take each week. One of us can't do it all, but all of us can do something. My activism is inherently you. I center my actions in love. I see justice work as a form of generosity to others and to the greater good. Justice work is courageous, uplifting work, but it can be scary and uncomfortable. But in community, we can be scared and courageous together. If you have power, any power, use it to help others. Is that not the call of Unitarian Universalism, to lead with love and transform the world? Together, let's muster the courage to be uncomfortable. Be empathetic and curious. Lead with love. If a shy girl who never spoke up could become a catalyst for change, you can too.
Thank you, Karen. And now please rise in body or spirit to sing Circle Round for Freedom. We will sing this 3 times. Volunteers from the choir will start us off the first time, and please join them for the following 2 times.
Circle for me.
Wherever Jim and I have lived since our marriage, in most of the communities, I've been involved somehow in justice work. But today I'm going to talk to you about the one I think that's had the most profound impact on me. Some time ago, it occurred to me that tending and caring for family and close friends is both natural and innate. After all, they're an extension of us. But there are people, and I like to think of it as building a cocoon around your loved ones. But I realize that not everybody has the pleasure of having such a cocoon. And so for those of us who are secure, that it's up to us to step out and maybe help build a cocoon for someone who doesn't have one. I became involved in the UU Prison of Illinois in its formation in 2016. The following year, I was at a workshop and talked to Megan Selby, who at that time was part of the Pen Pal program. And I asked her if she thought that anyone would be interested in being a pen pal to a woman of my age. And she said she thought they would, and a week later, I had a name. David was incarcerated at the age of 17, and when I met him, he had already served 22 years, and he was very anxious for contact with the outside world. Although we began writing letters, it very quickly transitioned into emails and then phone calls and then in-prison visits. So I feel like now, after all these years, pen pal really doesn't describe our relationship, but I don't know what another word is except friend. I've learned so much about prisons in the U.S. since being involved. They really have little to do with rehabilitation and more like locking people up and throwing away the key. And what I've learned is what goes behind those closed doors, most of the public does not know about. But being a pen pal really gives you a look inside. My observations are that prison diets are very, very unhealthy. Their medical care is abysmal. Lockdowns are frequent for infractions of one person or a very few, or maybe the prison guards just want to take the weekend off. Heat in the summers is stifling. Everything they do is closely monitored. Rules are fluid even for visitors. You never know what rules are going to happen the next time you visit. Everything they do, I've already said that, and that the answer to most questions is no. The Illinois Department of Corrections, there was a law that was passed that was to take effect January 2024. Where Illinois Department of Corrections was supposed to award the inmates all their good time or days off of their sentence for all the time that they had worked or taken classes in education from their time of incarceration. And really, the department just kind of decided to ignore that. My pen pal should have been out January 1 of 2024. He wasn't released until September 2024. I think now that just recently I heard that because of the pressure of interest groups, the department is being forced to award good time, as it should be. Back to David. We became quick friends, and I was able to help him in so many ways because I lived on the outside. I was able to use the internet to inquire about status of prison-related legislation. I was able to contact corrections officers that he had known at previous prisons to help him get transferred to a prison that was closer to home. Contact an attorney and work with an attorney for him to file a clemency petition and buy gifts for his fiance and many other things. I did find that a voice from the outside carried sway. When a counselor or a healthcare provider was totally unresponsive, if I called down, they'd be very curt when I called, but usually, David would get a contact slip and he was able to talk to them. While he was incarcerated, he first lost his grandmother, and then he lost his mother, and then 4 months before his release, he lost his only other living relative to support him, his aunt. So when he was released in September, as I said, his fiance and I are really his sole support system. The newly released faced formidable obstacles to jobs and housing. He is currently in one of the better halfway houses in Chicago that provides him with food and shelter. They helped him obtain an ID. They provide support on how to keep safe and avoid doing anything that would put him back in prison. And they've helped him with job hunting. He now has a part-time job, no benefits, so he's really furiously looking for something where he can get benefits. Having a record often is a non-starter. He relies heavily on me to learn how to navigate the world after 29 years of being locked up. And Jim and I even had the privilege on New Year's Eve day of going with he and his fiancée to City Hall and witnessing his marriage. There's so much more to do to help him get back on his feet, but I have confidence that he will be as successful in life and he'll make a fine citizen. Well, he already is a fine citizen. How has being a pen pal changed me? I believe I've become more compassionate. It's so easy to judge those behind bars with a single narrative. They've committed a crime and they need to spend time being punished. However, I realize that life's experiences are not equal. Some have lacked a role model. They've been exposed to violence, addictions, lack of nurturing, and a host of other negatives. So it's imperative that we not paint them with a single broad brush and drop our quick judgment and look toward forgiveness. And that brings up the other way in which I do think I've changed, or I've grown, and that is that I learned something about forgiveness. Brian Stevenson, founder of the Equal Justice Initiative, said, and it's so true, we're all more than the worst thing we've ever done. Thank heavens, right? Instead of focusing on punishment and revenge, forgiveness is the only way for us and for wrongdoers to turn a corner with their lives. My experience has shown me that so many who are locked up need a second chance. The media focuses on that one individual who gets out and commits another crime. But most people who get out, they're forgiven, they're helped to get back on their feet. They end up being very useful citizens. And in fact, David, my pen pal, has plans to actually work with young people to prevent what he's lived through for 30 years. He'll always be a part of my life, and I'm sure there's more growth for him and for me. There are so many avenues to justice to participate in, but if building a cocoon appeals to you, please see me after the service. Thank you.
Please rise in body and in spirit and join in hymn 1014, Answering the Call of Love.
The truth in our hearts is our God. morning, everyone. I kept wanting to go do this during that song. I was happy to be asked to reflect on the role of social justice in my spiritual journey. I've been a member here at DUC for 24 years. And in addition to social justice being working for fairness, equality, and inclusion for all people, I'd expand it to working for a healthier environment for everyone, and especially those in marginalized groups. I was raised as a Catholic, and we had volunteered each year to run a soup kitchen and to deliver holiday gifts to poor families, especially immigrants. In those years, I gained an appreciation for humility and serving others, even if the motivation seemed to be largely based on what God wanted us to do. The phrase, "there but for the grace of God go I," sums up the ethic that we were taught. I'd later become an atheist in college and embrace humanism, but that small c Catholic humbleness is a virtue that I really value from my upbringing. After college, I served for 3 years as a Peace Corps volunteer in Southern Africa in the Kingdom of Lesotho. I led a rural development project sponsored by the Unitarian Service Committee of Canada. I helped people to construct water systems, a road, school buildings, latrines, community gardens, and even a chicken coop. The work was difficult but rewarding. I also got to know the injustices of apartheid South Africa quite well, as I spent a lot of time there too. At the end of my service, our country director, who had previously been a UU minister, strongly recommended that I look into a UU church back home. And I'm glad he did, because I right away became a member of Countryside UU Church up in Palatine, 9 years prior to moving down here and joining DUC. I've always found a great sense of purpose in volunteering, a theme that runs through all my experiences, having the gumption to jump in and then dedication to stay involved. There's a saying sometimes attributed to Ben Franklin that the world is run by those who show up. And I think that can be true. I frequently found myself ending up in a leadership position after diligently attending meetings and repeatedly raising my hand. In addition to being active here at DUC, my volunteering includes leadership roles in a bicycle not-for-profit in Chicago, a bikes project in Lesotho, a local watershed group, a civic club, a local environmental organization, a couple municipal committees, a pad site, the Regional Peace Corps group, river and trail cleanups, and junior achievement. I just keep raising my hand. I'd be happy to tell you about any of those things over coffee. In my mind, all of these activities serve social justice by improving the lives of individuals, communities, and the environment. I've occasionally become over-obligated, and I'm really trying to limit my involvement to things that I'm particularly interested in or uniquely qualified to do. This sanctuary is chock full of folks that similarly commit to good causes, and that's one of the reasons this is my beloved community. Our values bring us together to work on things much larger than ourselves. And I'm grateful to all of you for the important role that you play in my life. Often that's just to recharge our batteries for another typical week. But it's also been much more momentous, such as being carried by your encouragement and contributions for my Bikes for Lesotho project, and the memorable coffee hour when Mark, Mike, and I hatched a plan to ride our bikes to Washington, D.C. in support of the Citizens Climate Lobby. I also appreciate having the Sangha led here by Mary and Elaine, and the mindfulness and connectedness that I've gained as a member of that group over 5 years or so. My spiritual journey has now led to a point where I describe myself as a UU religious humanist following Buddhist practices, including veganism, that allows me to act with clear intention and less reactivity, and to think more from the default perspective of we instead of me. The challenges of the next 4 years are weighing heavily on all of us, and I couldn't imagine facing them without you. Let's support and encourage each other to act as a community, here at DUC and elsewhere, knowing our world will be better as a result of us showing up. Thank you.
I'd like to thank our three speakers today, Linda, Karen, and Dave, for sharing their stories with us, and it's been really a pleasure. We have come to the end of our service, but not our calling in the world. We close our time together with the humble reminder that justice and equity are our spiritual practices to embrace. Each day, every day, we are blessed to be the embodiment of what is possible when justice and equity ground us in all that we do. May we go forth embodying the light and warmth of our community, inspired to live out our commitment to justice and equity in every interaction, becoming beacons of change in the world.
Please join us as we say our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish the light of this chalice, but not the light in our hearts, until we might end. May the warmth of our community